Today I fucked up by showing 14-year-old nephew my top naked girlfriend, and then he showed it to my mom. Happened last year exactly on this day. Happy birthday my dear nephew. Pre-fuck up era when life was good. I come home after 6 months for my nephew's birthday. Girlfriend was with me in the cab. Mom invited her over for lunch. My mother thinks she's just a friend of mine and I like keeping it that way. While they talk and get to know each other, I show my nephew the Android tablet I got for him and help out with the setup. Girlfriend had a flight to catch, long distance relationship 80% of the year, so she leaves. Now, as we like to keep things spicy in the long distance, we sex chat almost every week. Sometimes it would later turn into a video call. As it happened on the night of the brilliant fuck up, it's 1 AM, we have been sexting and things are getting hot. Tell her I'm hard and I'd like to see her. Call me on Google Duo, our favorite video call app. I got no reply for 10 minutes. I decided, okay, she's taking time, let me jerk one off. Now, I keep my phone aside and I'm doing the deed, and suddenly I hear knocking on the door. It's 1 AM and everyone in my family goes to bed by 10:30 PM. WTF? So I put on my pajamas, boner still very obvious, and open the door. Apparently, when you set up Google account on your nephew's tablet, you shouldn't log in with your own personal Gmail address. He got the call, woke up, and instead of coming to me he went to the next room where my mom was sleeping. Cherry on top, you would assume that my girlfriend would have hung up when she saw it's not me on the other end, but wait, Google Duo has this amazing feature that you can see the live video of the caller without even answering the call. So she had no idea who's on the other end while he kept looking at her live. Anyway, my mom didn't say much, just handed me the tablet and said she's going to sleep. We never spoke of it again. My nephew still smiles when her name comes up in any random conversation. He's a devil in the making. Too long didn't read. My naked girlfriend called me on Google Duo where you can see the video before answering the call. My nephew got the call on his new Android. He freaked out and showed it to my mom. Why did he snitch while there's tits? I'm not understanding his mental. Key mistake. He was 14. Man, kids are lucky to grow up with the technology we have today. 14-yo but with a soul of an 8-yo. Exactly. Hoping his soul grows over time. What a shitty feature for a video calling app. It's almost as bad as the cast button that doesn't confirm before it sends your shit to the device. Coming soon. Today I fucked up by sexting my long-distance boyfriend. Today I fucked up by helping my father dig up the backyard. Obligatory. This happened about 2 years ago. I rented a backhoe for the weekend to do some work and my dad asked me to bring it by because he wanted a drainage trench dug. I got there and dug the trench without issue, but my dad suddenly had another idea. He explained to me that back in the 70s when he first built the house he had buried a lead-lined cooler in the backyard, and he was concerned about the lead contamination. I asked him where the cooler was and he pointed to a general area of the yard. I began digging holes throughout his search zone without luck. After about an hour of digging what seemed to be random holes, jackpot. The backhoe found the cooler and busted it into pieces. Another thing my father neglected to mention to me was that this was during his hobbyist taxidermy phase. It turned out that one weekend the power went out and the freezer he had unprepared deer hides in thawed out. His thinking was to put the deer hides in a cooler and bury it in the backyard to dispose of the deer hides. Fast forward to 45 years and the cooler that contained deer hides now contained a rancid liquid that sat in wait for an unsuspecting person to dig up years later. When the liquid oozed out, this heavy, overpowering, putrid smell of death, worse than a bloated whale covered in chicken shit and rotten eggs, began to overtake my senses. I gagged, my dad gagged, and I decided I'd had enough and was out of there. I put the backhoe on the trailer and left. The liquefied deer carcass was covering the backhoe's bucket and followed me home. From the driveway the smell began to flow into my house and soon enough my neighbor was outside asking if something died on my property. I explained what happened and hosed the backhoe off. The next morning I headed back over to my parents' house. I was at least a 1/4 mile away and the pungent smell of death began to enter my nostrils. The closer I got to my parents, the stronger the smell. Overhead, at least a dozen turkey vultures were circling my parents' property. By the time I got to their house I couldn't breathe. The stench was so bad. I ran into the house to find my mother waiting for me. "What the hell is wrong with you?" my mother yells at me. She began flipping out on me since I was the one operating the backhoe and broke open the time bomb. She hadn't slept all night and the neighbors all around were pissed. She then told me that the local police had paid a visit out of concern expressed by the neighbors. I promised from that moment on I would not entertain any of my dad's dimwit ideas. The smell took 3 days to disappear from the neighborhood and another 2 days after that to disappear from my parents' property. TLDR. Took a backhoe to my parents' house, dug up a 45-year-old cooler with liquefied deer carcasses in it, and made an entire neighborhood smell like death for days. Father-in-law buried a packed full 20 cubic feet meat freezer somewhere on his property with an excavator after the power went out while they were out of town. The land has been sold off and it's now starting to be developed. I wonder who will find the time capsule of death. Why didn't you just bury it again? On the bright side, you spent quality time with the old man, and have a family story to pass on to the kids about you and grandpa. Priceless. Grimacing face. Came here because the title would lead to a dead body. Pleasantly pleased it was almost there. Oh, nothing to worry about, son. That's just an old deer carcass. Yay, that's it. I can't imagine how awful it smells, but from your description it was quite disgusting. Today I fucked up by catching feelings on OnlyFans. Oh, I know, that's not how that site works. I know. I'm subbed to a handful of creators, and I talk with them, and buy content, and tip, and they're sweet and flirty and nice, and it's not like this. This one added me on Snapchat, doesn't charge me for content, tells me about her actual life, all that. I tell myself that she's just really good at her job. Tell myself that I'm too old for her, 3320. I still get depressed when she ignores my messages for an entire day. I'm not a neckbeard that has never known the difference between kindness and a crush. I was married for a decade, fuck COVID. I'm a regular schlub that fucked around and got invested in an imaginary online relationship. I just had to vent to someone, because I've got to distance myself from the creator with whom I've become enamored. Downvote if you must, let this die if you want, IDFC. Too long didn't read. I developed a crush on a pretty girl when there was no way she was into me and I 100% knew better. I hate to say it, but I think you're only friends. I understand this. I'm subbed to the bikini barista I get my coffee from. The thirst is real. Fucking thirsty 30s, man. Based on the post, it seems like COVID may have ended a decade-long relationship. If so, these feelings are totally normal, dude. Correct me if I'm wrong on that timeline, but if you're trying to move on from someone or are broken-hearted, it's very easy to replace that deep connection with something superficial and not realize it. So many rebounds and hookups after a breakup end up messy for that reason. And then they often go back to the ex once they realize it isn't the same thing. In this specific case, because money is involved, it would be hard to suggest the feelings may be real, although not impossible. Considering the number of men she communicates with and it being a source of income, you have to assume the closeness is a way of getting more money. I'm sure the friend/love side is also an advantage in the move, and being in a relationship without any of the commitments is something I think everyone would like. But I'd only use this to instead find something real and lasting in person. Rebuild some confidence. Retool your ways to flirt. Find what she responds to. I'm sure you know this, just wanted to drop my 2 cents. The last thing I'd feel is guilt. Everything is an opportunity to learn and grow. Thanks, friend, you made some excellent points. Smile. I think you're 100% right, move on. Good for you for starting by writing this post. Tell her comments must not be on OnlyFans Lamau. If it's not money she's getting out of it, it's attention. No one goes there for a real relationship, just paid fantasy ones. Definitely stay away from strip clubs then, aka OnlyFans hard mode.